Do you know Bitcoin is currently up over 100% since the year began? With how the markets are looking lately, you might start to think if a new bull market is on the horizon. But where can you expect Bitcoin to go if the bull market is back? Well, in today's video, we'll look at some Bitcoin price predictions from notable figures and institutions. Let's start things off with a $445,000 Bitcoin prediction by JP Morgan. Analysts at JP Morgan mentioned that rising gold prices could mean a 45,000 Bitcoin, as their price movements are correlated and seen as similar alternatives to investors. Besides that, JP Morgan is expecting Bitcoin's next halving around April 2024 to double miners' production cost to $40,000 per Bitcoin, which would establish a new price floor for Bitcoin. JP Morgan also acknowledges that in the past, Bitcoin's production costs have acted as a price floor for the asset, and that previous Bitcoin since then Standard Chartered has renewed its prediction to $120,000 per Bitcoin. Now, this is because miners are expected to keep more Bitcoin as they anticipate its price to increase, and at the same time can sell less Bitcoin to cover their operational costs when Bitcoin's price is higher. Back in July, Standard Chartered estimated that miners have been selling 100% of their new coins. However, if Bitcoin gets to 50,000 by the end of 2023, the bank is expecting miners to sell only 20 to 30% of their newly mined Bitcoin. If this is true, this would significantly reduce the supply of new Bitcoins entering the market and cause Bitcoin to appreciate in price, assuming all other factors are still in play. Now, to most Bitcoin bulls, a $100,000 Bitcoin is not a matter of if, but when. But what about a 100,000 Bitcoin by the end of March 2024 in August Blockstream? CEO and crypto OG Adam Back tweeted that he agrees with the sentiment on Bitcoin, reaching $100,000, albeit much earlier than most would believe. What's more is that he agreed to bet $1 million with another crypto Twitter user that Bitcoin will reach $100,000 by March 31st of 2024. Now, whether you're excited on seeing Bitcoin run up to $100,000 early next year or shocked at the size of the bet, just know that they agreed to bet $1 million sats, which is just about $354 at the current Bitcoin price. Crypto hedge fund Penta Capital dove into Bitcoin's performance around its halving events and found a bullish forecast by comparing Bitcoin's previous performance around its halving events. Bitcoin's price bottoms about 477 days prior to having steadily climbs and rallies for another 480 days after the halving. Now, based on this data, Bitcoin should have bottomed on December 30th, 2022, but Penta claims that the actual low occurred on November 9th of 2022 during the collapse of FTX. Using the framework around Bitcoin's halving event, Penta states that Bitcoin would reach $35,000 before the halving and eventually hit $148,000. For now, the first part of the prediction has come true with Bitcoin hitting $35,000 recently, but we'll just have to see if Penta is right about a 148,000 Bitcoin in 2025 by now. You should be no stranger to BlackRock's surprise spot Bitcoin ETF filing this year, and the amount of buzz that it has generated. Chief Investment Officer of Morgan Creek Capital Management, Mark Yusso, seems to be pretty excited about BlackRock's ETF filing and made a prediction on Bitcoin hitting $150,000. One of his reasons is the potential inflows that BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF could bring. Yusso estimates that there's only about $100 billion worth of readily available Bitcoin in the market. He notes that BlackRock has about $30 trillion of capital, and that if 0.1% of these funds goes into the ETF, that is 30 billion Bitcoins purchased from a supply of 100 billion. Coupled with the reduced supply of newly mined Bitcoin after the next Bitcoin's halving event, Yusso believes Bitcoin would get a parabolic rally, sending its price to $150,000. Although a spot Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock seems increasingly likely to be approved, it will still be anyone's guess until it's here. If you've been in crypto for a while, you will know Arthur Hayes, former CEO of BitMEX, that frequently publishes controversial takes on the macroeconomic environment around financial markets. On a podcast episode by Tom Billu, Arthur mentioned that a combination of the upcoming Bitcoin halving and the Fed possibly cutting rates to float the financial market could send the price of Bitcoin to its all-time high at about $70,000 by the end of 2024. However, he is also expecting Bitcoin to continue rallying in a parabolic fashion, potentially reaching $700,000 to $1 million per Bitcoin. Well, if this price prediction isn't bald enough, Arthur also shared that given the current macroeconomic and geopolitical situation, he believes that a depression as severe as the Great Depression comes after Bitcoin and other assets hit their tops. Now, call this prediction crazy, but that's Arthur Hayes for you. And now the final prediction on our list is by ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood. Cathie Wood has made bold predictions on numerous assets over the years, including Bitcoin this time. However, Cathie seems to be just as, or perhaps even more bullish than ever on Bitcoin compared to her prediction in 2020. Cathie Wood believes in the importance of Bitcoin as the world's first decentralized, global digital and rules-based monetary system. It is a very big idea. While the current total crypto market capitalization is at about 1.2 trillion, Cathie Wood believes that the crypto market as a whole will reach 25 trillion, with more than half of its valuation represented by Bitcoin. This puts Bitcoin's market capitalization at over 13 trillion, which is more than 19 times what the Bitcoin market is currently valued at around 688 billion. So her reason is the potential approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs by the SEC, driving up the demand of increasingly scarce Bitcoin due to Bitcoin having a fixed supply of 21 million BTC, over 90% of which has been mined. Cathie Wood believes that the institutional inflow brought on by approved spot ETFs will bring forth a notable increase in demand for an increasingly restricted supply of Bitcoin. She believes that institutions will have no choice but to buy up Bitcoin, sending the price of Bitcoin. And its spot ETFs higher. With all this, Wood made two predictions on Bitcoin's price, a bear case of $682,000 and a bull case of a whopping 1.48 million by the year 2030. Now, 1.48 million per BTC may seem a lot, but it's worth noting that 7 years is a lot of time in crypto terms, and Bitcoin has been known to defy expectations one way or another. So whose prediction do you agree with, or perhaps do you have your own? Well, let us know in the comments below. Now, I mentioned it quite a bit in this video, so if you need to know what a big point halving is, well then check out this video right here.